Hello and welcome to So Farscape.
A fun-filled Farscape fancast by a fervent fan.
And a frankly fascinated first-timer.
I'm Kaki.
I'm Kay.
And this is the story So Farscape.
And welcome for episode 421, La Bomba, We're So Screwed, Part 3.
Oh, we're so far into the story So Farscape, 421 already.
Yes, running on, well, I won't say running on fumes, because they've still got quite a lot of gas in the tank.
Yeah, plenty of fuel in that old bucket. God, I remember when this had come out and just wondering what... Okay, so there's another episode left?
Where are they going to take it from here? Yes.
Yeah.
Oh.
Because, I mean, not to jump ahead of like completely reviewing the episode, it sort of feels like a finale, doesn't it?
It does a bit, in a way. I mean, there's still plenty of loose ends to get with, but... All
right, let me see. Do I have a human interest segment?
I don't know. I mean, I don't know what next episode is going to be. It's probably going to be called Complete Misery or something like that.
Okay, well, do you want to put any points on that?
No.
Because, well, hold on. You have a ton of points.
Okay.
Let me see if I can pull that up on this device. I'm not entirely sure if that's going to work or whether I need my laptop for that. Well, no, I don't seem to have your score. That doesn't make any sense.
Oh, no.
Patrons.
Well, the numbers are just made up anyway. So.
Predictions, that's where it is.
Predictions.
Grid view.
Okay.
I'm not getting totals, but you have a genuine fuck ton of points recently because
A few very long-term bets came home to roost, I think.
You said that Harvey is still around.
Well.
And you put 300 points on that. And with the episode multiplier from 411 to 419, where it was revealed, so that's 2,700 points.
Gee.
Did we ever decide whether you put points on John returning to Earth? Because you made that prediction back in...
I'm pretty sure that I said that it was Earth, but he wasn't going to set foot on it. And we already talked about that I definitely lost that one.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
But in the very first episode we recorded together, you also predicted that he would be going to Earth. Did we sort of sort that out?
I don't know. But we weren't doing points then.
No, exactly.
I'm pretty sure that was already, again, I got a random amount of points for that from you.
I'll fill something in then. This has been such a delight, and
I'm pretty sure you've retroactively gave me points for that at some point when I was running desperately low. So
we have done it sort of timey-wimey before, haven't we? Okay, I think that's I sat down and I thought, okay, I'm going to do the points now. I've promised it several times. Mm-hmm. It's pretty okay. It was pretty up to date, and I haven't really needled you to make more predictions.
No, I mean we're running out of episodes, so that's going to be a little bit hard.
Breaking
it's going to be harder.
Okay.
I know. Well, it's true.
But we have this to still enjoy.
We do indeed. And let's see what our listeners have to say about this episode. We gotta get out of here before they realize another lunatic with the wrong number of eyes. Throw a tantrum, destroy the Crystherium. Leaving a bomb in an elevator seems unwise. Thank you, Rick from the Delta Quadrant.
Oh, Rick. Oh, I recently saw, you haven't heard this yet, but I saw a little message that Rick sent us for the end of Season 4 that I'm really looking forward to sharing with you, where we also learn, I think, where the Delta Quadrant might be.
Oh. Well, hang on, Delta Quadrant? That's
where Rick is from.
Oh, right.
Rick from the Delta Quadrant.
Sorry, no.
And yeah.
Okay, yep.
Oh, this one breaks my heart. Guess what I did at work today? I wore a bomb in a field of flowers.
I noticed you're doing your John voice from the fanfic readings.
It's not a double cross, it's a triple cross. It's plan E for elevator, and it has nothing to do with wormholes, despite Harvey's claims. There are sore losers all round, and the crew forget to vote. Thank you, Marky See.
And the gang partake in gardening practices that are even less environmentally friendly than laying astroturf. Grayza is asked if she could come to the manager's office for a quick chat, and Braca is reunited with his brother, his captain, his king, his bestie. Thank you, mysterytour.
Bestie, yeah. They appear to be very good friends, don't they? Yes. Yeah, this is Season 4, Episode 21, where power and political alliances shift from 1 minute to the next as the crew tries to make their escape, Scorpion toe, from Katratzi. The line between freedom fighting and terrorism begins to blur when John finds that, for now, he may need to give Scorpius exactly what he wants. Oh. Let's find out. Yes, I also have to sort of find my...
Right.
Where is the
we are
link?
at this point we usually start talking about what's happening in the episode, right? Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, that's what we do. And we do that based on our Jeeves.
We get another quick little recap of what's been happening, just like getting the viewers up to date, including John's bomb threats, Harvey's crypt talk, Scorpius being tortured by Stark, which I have some interesting things to ask about.
Yeah. Very valid. I'm looking forward to hearing your particular perspectives on that one.
And the little riot as it was being set up, and we end up... Well, actually, we start with the ending of the last episode, where Scorpius is pinning John to the floor, telling him, your plan has failed, and now we must go with my plan.
You do not know what you're doing. Yeah, I do, and I'm gonna frickin' nuke you in half for this damn base!
Oh, no, we are betrayed.
Also, in the flashback was a little reminder that apparently at one point the Scorpius is talking to the Emperor, and he said, I have served you faithfully for 10 cycles.
As a spy.
I've served you for 10 cycles as a spy!
A plot point that is dropped almost as quickly as it's revealed.
I mean, we just saw that in the listener synopses. Like, yes, it's a double cross, it's a triple cross. Like, who is working for who at this point? I mean... We don't know. I mean,
the override of the loyalties override.
We get that, yes.
Which happens in the elevator as well.
Yes.
What the hell's going on up there? We couldn't override their override of our override. Great.
Yeah, when I'm thinking, like, when you have in a position like Scorpius, like, you can't really make any predictions about whom he's working for. Because it's just whatever the writers decide that needs to happen at the time that it happens.
You know, it's an interesting observation that you make there, because I saw in the preparation for this episode that the writer, it must have been Justin Monjo, I think that's where we are, remarked that during this whole season, Wayne Pygram was actually sort of the guardian of Scorpius.
Right.
And had a lot of interactions with writers. And yes, they did have, like, overarching plots, but... It was Wayne who felt a really deep personal responsibility to keep Scorpius consistent and interesting.
Yes.
Which the writers really appreciated because, they have a large writers room, they have a lot of stories that they need to break. They're making 22 hours of television a year. That's a lot of work to do.
Yeah.
And he was constantly thinking, like, over the entire continuity of his character to keep him from... I mean, when a mysterious character gets that much screen time... They can lose their mystery and they can become more consistent or predictable.
Right. Or if you go the other way and it becomes a completely loose cannon, which is also not interesting.
Yes.
There has to be at least the viewer has to believe that the character still has an intrinsic
motivation, yes. So that was very important to Wayne Pygram. And while I certainly agree that the triple cross, that it turns out somehow he's also been serving as a spy to the Scarrans for 10 years...
Right.
While also, for realsies, betraying them.
Yes, and
is
having walked out on his torture sessions with the Scarrans, and then apparently not. As a kid, like when he was like crazy, and then he went to the Peacekeepers to get his revenge. So even though it's shown that he throws away, breaks free of the Scarrans, essentially.
Yes, season 3, episode 11, Incubator. I think that was.
And then he turns out that he still is apparently working for them. But maybe not. So, yeah, who knows?
Do you really think who knows? Are you really unsure about Scorpius's...
I think I've said that before. I think Scorpius is out for number 1.
Interesting. Okay.
Yeah. And the problem is, like, what turns out to be his actual belief. Like, does he, in fact, hate the Scarrans enough to want to get them with wormhole bombs and wormhole technology?
Yeah.
Or is he secretly? I mean, we don't know that. I'm inclined to say that his plan is still get the Scarrans.
Yeah,
that's become very clear with like the way he wanted the flower destroyed. So he still hates the Scarrans, and if
willing to give up his own life, willing to give up wormholes.
If it serves his purpose to let the Scarrans think that he is a spy for them, then that he will do that.
Yep.
So I think that's still his main plan. He genuinely hates the Scarrans and wants them to be set back.
Yeah, and he'll do anything to achieve that goal. He'll join the Peacekeepers. He'll spy for the Scarrans.
Yeah.
Inching his way. He's like Gustavo Fring in Breaking Bad, a character whom we learn has a very sort of long-term plan.
Mm. But yeah, so he kind of gets talked into like not actually disarming the bomb, but not setting it off. And we get a little bit of a confusing... Okay, so the one thing that I noticed in the scene where he's talking to the Emperor, John is acting very meek. He mostly avoids making eye contact, and he's kind of just like, he's got this caught schoolboy thing.
Were you planning to leave?
Temporarily. Grayza called with another offer. But you had a riot going on. We didn't want to bother you. We decided to take our own car.
So are you talking about the opening scene still? So Scorpius is sitting on his back?
Well, Scorpius at this point, the Emperor's already has bitch slapped Scorpius away from John.
Yeah.
And the Emperor is talking to John. I can't remember what they're talking about, but I noticed that John's body language is very, avoidant, very like a
Interesting observation.
Because he's not making eye contact with the Emperor. He's staring at the ground all the time, and he's being very meek, I'd say.
Yes, evasive. Mm-hmm. I think he's thinking on his feet real quick because the Emperor is, Duncan Young does a fantastic job with this character. Emperor Stalik is so reasonable and generous, and I'm so delighted to see that you're safe, and you'll be happy to know that our soldiers have also located your friends,
yes.
and we're keeping them safe. Also,
coincidentally, as they were also nearing exits.
Were you trying to leave?
And John says, yes, that seemed like the safest thing to do in the situation, and I'm glad that you didn't, because the automated defense systems would have vaporized you.
Right, but Lola has stealth mode.
So
but yes.
Everyone's being disingenuous.
Very much so,
And
yes.
everyone knows it.
But we're maintaining the social veneer of...
Yes, exactly. We're offering each other the opportunity to, we can proceed with sneering, or we can proceed with this fiction. Either way, it's still a foot race to whoever...
Right, we need to keep proceeding.
I love the Emperor so much. The
question is he dead? Probably not, because, they got him out. A little bit later on in the episode, they finally, when the chariot commander of the guard finally gets to do what his supposed role is, the first thing he does is get the Emperor out of here.
Get the Emperor to safety.
And now we're going to... Because I was thinking about that. We're jumping a little bit ahead here, but that's why important people are guided by a separate group.
Right.
Whose only purpose is to keep these people safe. It's like this. It's
Secret Service.
Secret Service. Yeah,
the Roman Praetorians.
Right. They have their only job is keep these important people safe, and they don't care about anybody else. They don't have to care about. They're also not expected to go and sent off to attack people or track someone else down. No, that's not their job. Their job is only
protecting the chain of command.
Right. Yeah.
Right. And the people in it. Yes, I looked up that Chariot is an actor we've seen before. He also played Iolette, which was the assassin on the planet of the Beehive people. He had all the flies that he could generate from his sort of scorpion cowl.
Right, yes.
So he seems to do okay under all that hot flesh makeup.
So we have a talk between Dargo, Aaron, and Scorpius, and John.
They're having another little parlor scene. There's a lot of parlor scenes.
There is. This episode, not a lot actually happens. there's a lot.
Right.
There's a lot of, talking, parlor scenes, and a lot of action, but nothing really happens. Not a lot happens. The plot is
you could go through that very quickly, indeed. Yeah. But there is a lot of information being conveyed.
Right.
And some really great lines.
And mostly character-driven.
Yes.
Yeah, that's...
So they're all sort of collectively interrogating Scorpius now, hey, you shot us in the back, you took our only opportunity, and he says, no, I saved your lives.
Yes.
Your plan would have failed.
We could have been on Lola by now before that.
It was quite likely the Scarrans had already disabled Dargo's ship.
That's impossible.
And found Moya.
You think that you can run away from the Scarran base the way that you ran away from a shadow depository?
Yeah.
Good luck. They almost certainly already know where Moya is. They've almost certainly overcome your impenetrable security on Lola.
Which they, in fact, have.
Right. Your plan was based on a horrible underestimation of Scarran motivation. Mm. And there's another scene, of which we get many, where Akna just comes in to taunt John personally.
Grayza doesn't frighten me. Her command carrier doesn't frighten me. Your bomb doesn't frighten me, and neither do you.
Damn. I'm on the brink of devastation, Manny Pearl.
Yes, she's on a mission to be a bitch.
I think she's a little bit upset that her plaything, Scorpius, was taken away from her.
Right.
she, she says,
I should kill you now. You're still my prisoner.
And John said, technically, he's my prisoner
now. And she gets, royally, literally royally shoved aside when the Emperor decides, you go away now. Your position,
She is rapidly falling out of favor.
Very much so.
So we can see a bit.
Still scary, though.
It's the hat.
Thank you. Thank you.
That was an ad-lib. Ben's line that she scares me was just it was unscripted. Yeah. And so her sort of looking away, Claudia Black was just thinking of something cool to say, and she delivered.
Very good.
We get a beautiful shot of Katratzi and the
the broken moons of
Sesharine. Interrupted by the title, We're So Screwed. Oh, the BBC proposed an alternative title for the trilogy because they didn't want to use Screwed because it was airing on BBC One.
Oh, okay.
I don't remember what it was, but it wasn't any good. And we see John taking Scorpius aside into a private room that 1812 has
bug checked. Mm-hmm. Yep. And this looks like it's still on Katratzi, yes.
Yes.
It's got the elaborate tables and the set pieces, and it's all very pretty.
And the flowers.
And the flowers, which are ubiquitous around here. So it turns out, okay, let's do a quick flower talk. So Scorpius tells about the importance of the flowers, and it turns out that it makes Scarrans smart.
Scarrans! Simplistic, brutish creatures! Should have died out generations ago.
What happens if they eat the flower?
Big brains, evolutionarily competitive. Hey, you know Stolic, Achner.
And if they don't eat them?
Your dog could beat him at checkers. Ha!
So I think we're meant to infer that the sort of ruling caste versus soldier caste, the horse-faced versus the flat-faced Scarrans, is due to their diet.
Right.
Presumably during formative years, because right now, any old soldier can just pick up some of these flowers and march down on them. But that without a steady diet of these to snack on, they all develop into the soldier kind, and
at least brain-wise,
yes.
Or maybe it's the smell, or we don't know about if they eat them or not. But it's
or
it just could be the pollen, as Dargo at one point mentions. It's just rock and pollen. It's
I can relate.
It's been terrible the last month.
Oh, they did call them a delicacy, and we see them snacking on them.
Very good point, yes.
Yeah. When John said he recognized them. This was also sort of Wayne's idea. The flower in Incubator was just a prop.
Yeah.
And he kind of sort of obsessed over it. He really, really liked that.
The fact that this flower has some sort of importance.
Uh-huh. And that was a hook that then the writers were able to...
willing to work with, yes. While this scene is going on, while they're talking about what happened and what's going on, and Scorpius once again trying to convince John that his way is the right way, at the same time there's another Harvey scene going on, and we get this... Very
NYPD Blue.
Okay, that's what it was.
Right?
I wasn't sure what they were spoofing.
I mean, it could be any old cop show,
right? But it turns out
a very strong NYPD view,
right?
Blue. I mean, even the sort of blue lighting.
What did I tell you about not smoking in my head? And
and Harvey is like a street punk. He's got his beanie hat,
right? But still all the Scorpio makeup, and fantastic. So it gets a little bit complicated because everything, and anytime John talks, he's talking to Harvey, but then Scorpius responds as if he said that out loud.
John is playing an incredible double game here. He is interrogating Harvey while he's being sort of confronted by Scorpius.
Yes,
and he's doing it simultaneously.
And he learns that Harvey lied a little bit. Scorpius doesn't know everything that he knows.
Scorpius knows everything you know. So what? I lied.
Yep. And Scorpius is actually surprised that Harvey's still around, I think.
He knows that he didn't get rid of Harvey, but he did bury him. Harvey even says... The
boss says, lay low. Don't go near him anymore. Give him some peace.
Right, that was it, yeah.
Right. So Scorpius didn't remove Harvey, like he said, but there was the sort of good faith gesture to...
Right. So, I mean, later on in the episode, when Scorpius accuses John was breaking their agreement. It's kind of like, you kind of broke the agreement, the other agreement we had about removing Harvey.
Yes,
so there's
absolutely that there. But there's also Scorpius is realizing, hey, Harvey would not have resurfaced unless John was betraying me. And that's why he's so surprised. Hey, John, Harvey would never have done this. Like, I programmed him. I know what he's going to do. And he would not have surfaced unless you intended to let me die and therefore, break your deal because we made a deal. I help you save Aaron. You give me wormhole whole knowledge.
Yep.
And this is implicit. And, like, Scorpius is disappointed.
Yes. Because he kind of like, I didn't expect that from John.
Yeah.
It's like he's normally so upright and forthcoming. And
I thought we could read each other.
Yeah.
I thought we built this trust. He's almost hurt.
Which is, like, from someone who is a serial betrayer, is a little bit...
Oh, absolutely.
He turns his back on anybody when it suits him best. And, so to then...
I have no sympathy for Scorpius, of course.
No.
But everybody's pain is real. And his, regardless of whether they deserve it or whatever. And it's so fascinating to see him actually, whoa. So is he sad that he miscalculated? Is he sad that he thought that they trusted each other?
Yeah. Also something I only just noticed while looking at the Jeeves. In the room where John is talking to Harvey, there's a flower in, in the background.
There's a Crystherium utilia flower on the table. It's like the only prop there. But another crucial revelation is made by both Harvey and Scorpius. Scorpius doesn't have any wormhole knowledge.
No.
Because that idea
Harvey
that...
was lying,
Harvey was live streaming from John's head was a convenient little lie.
Yes.
Oh, that is clever.
Brilliant.
Yes, and okay. Well, now that kind of reshifts the balance of power.
Yeah.
Grayza and Braca, meanwhile, are on the command carrier, and in retrospect, the first cracks are start. Oh no, actually, it's John and Aaron are there as well. Which is how did they suddenly arrive on the command carrier?
Well, John and Aaron said that they were on their way to Grayza, having been invited there when the riot broke out.
Yeah.
And we'll deliver you there ourselves.
Yes.
Scout transport brings them there.
Because ostensibly the negotiations are still going on.
Exactly.
Because John still has
maintaining.
John still has people are bidding against each other for the better conditions. He literally says that to the minister.
Minister Akna.
Mr. Akna later pointing, well, the high bids currently. Because, he pretty much says that wherever.
And she doesn't believe him.
Yeah, but, so they're talking with Grayza, and Grayza is kind of disappointed.
Yeah, she's a little bit backed into a corner.
Yeah.
Because, we don't even see it, but John and Aaron are probably there, asking for the completion of the offer. The offer that they'd received from Grayza to begin with was, you'll get a full pardon, everyone totally safe from the Peacekeepers if you just don't give wormhole weapons to them. Which is a really good deal.
And the paperwork is already signed, it's already in place. You already have it, you only have to basically come back with the information.
Yeah. And of course, they're asking for the rest of the safe passage back out, which I'm sure Grayza would be willing to offer, but there's just no option to, because as soon as they arrived, 400 planetary cannons were aimed at the weak little battle cruiser or command carrier.
Minister Akna informed us that unless you were returned to them safely, they'd fire.
Well, they can't do that. To honor the truce, they have to let you go wherever you want.
They'll let us go. They just won't let you leave with us.
They feel it violates the terms of the agreement.
Yep. Once that part of the negotiations kind of breaks down, there's a very brief walk and talk with Braca and Aaron.
Yes.
Who goes into the medical bay for a personal matter.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We all get...
Could be anything, Maybe you need your salivary glands recalibrated or something.
Exactly. We all get itches somewhere.
Yeah.
I think you want someone to have a look at, this is a weird itch. Should we look at that? And obviously you don't want to pry into that, so Braca leaves her to it, and so do we.
Yeah.
Where are you going? That's a medical area.
I have something I need to take care of.
Personal problem. Let's go.
So you need to watch.
Wait for it here.
Let me just bring that up. One episode from the finale of the season, and still.
And that, especially that paired with the final scene of this episode is oh shit.
Oh, Points. Spend them, baby.
Oh, this is very difficult. I mean, the obvious implication, I would say, is that she has gone in to, and I can't remember what they say about peacekeepers and their pregnancies, because like they can be delayed automatically for a certain time. So but they also have to be reactivated.
For the listeners at home, I'm just going to drop the clip in here. Or actually, you are.
No,
you're editing this one.
You are.
Oh, I'm editing. Oh, even better. Well, it definitely double doesn't help you because you also don't listen to these episodes, do you?
Those of us born on a command carrier can retain an embryonic fetus for up to 7 cycles. And only a surgeon can release the stasis so the baby can grow.
So now that... Oh, God. That's what I should have been doing. I should have been putting even more clues in the episode so you could actually listen to our show.
So, yes, I mean, like, the obvious options are she's either had the pregnancy terminated or turned on. Activated, yes.
Which do you think?
Oh, well, I already said that, like, next episode is going to be called Everybody's Miserable. I'll just or Everybody Loses. That might also be a good term.
Everybody loses.
Sometime. No, wait, that's a different song. But anyway.
4 seasons in the uncharted territories and tormented space really worn you down, haven't you? Like, you can really relate to...
It's made me a little bit cynical, yes.
To John, where, yeah... Gone were those halcyon days when we sort of asked questions first and went, gee, at the weird aliens.
Yeah, and like went with optimism. And now we're going like, okay, how are the writers going to torture the characters even more than they already have?
So, do you have a prediction?
Oh, it's so hard. It's like, I mean, on the one hand, I want to say that they're going to like go for a happy end and like have it be John's kid and have her going forward with it. Aww. On the other hand, it's Farscape.
Yeah. I remember there was a lot of speculation about that, and the vast majority were like, it was about the activation of the pregnancy, right? Because that's Erin's arc. The idea that she would elect to terminate the pregnancy, there's no motivation for that.
Yeah.
Although, a case could be made if her recovery from the torture was different, that she wouldn't, maybe she wouldn't want this child to be born into this universe. Mm-hmm. But all of that was very, very emo. Yeah. There was an idea that maybe she would have a similar gland installed like Grayza.
Yeah.
And trying to seize power, which I also think is interesting, but...
Yeah, that doesn't sound like Erin.
So I think it's just she's got a funny itch somewhere, and then you want someone to look at it. That's the only thing that makes sense.
Okay, so I'll try to crawl into Erin's head here, and I'm going to say, like, I think she had it activated because it's either going to work out or they're dead.
Yeah.
And therefore, this would be an act of her to maybe double down, go all in.
And when else is she going to get access to a peacekeeper doctor?
Exactly. Like now,
make hay while the sun is shining.
Yeah, no matter the outcome, if they survive and are well enough, then this is going to moving forward. So that's going to be my opinion. That she's going forward with it, and she had the pregnancy activated.
I was on that side when it was new to me, and we were all wondering. There is no question in my mind. She wants to meet this baby.
Right,
like,
yes.
She's already been through hell and back.
Yeah.
And she knows how much she loves it already. It's not even here yet. And there's nothing that she wouldn't do and has done to protect her child.
Speaking of parent-child relationships, Dargo has a little bit of a problem with Lola.
Du ska hoppista.
Everything's working, right?
Yeah, it seems to be.
All right. Well, let's get the others. Blast our way out of here.
No, someone's been in here. I can smell it.
Well, the defenses were up, right?
No, I don't know what they've done. Maybe filled with the weapons, planted a homing beacon, or a bomb. Drill it.
She smells funny.
Yes, because the Emperor the Emperor told them to do something to her. I don't know, maybe just deactivate or something. I don't remember what.
Emperor, the craft is an eradicator, top-rocked in design. We've gained entry and neutralized its systems. Sentinels are now securing the star charts and the vector logs.
Leave no trace when you've completed. I don't want them to know what we know.
But They did not account for Dargo's sensitive nose.
No.
And he knows that, like, something's up. And Chiana doesn't buy it at first, but he goes like, no, we're going to have to do a full system reboot, like boot it up from core memory, and that's going to take about 3 hours.
And Gianna asks a very reasonable question, which is, what if it finds something we can't fix? And then Dargo goes, well, then it's Scorpius's plan is the only one left.
Yeah. Also, it's like, better to know that than to take a gamble. Like,
Yes.
It's, otherwise...
First step in avoiding a trap is knowing the trap exists.
Right. But even then, it's like, but it might find something. I mean, there's 3 options. It finds nothing, in which case you wasted 3 hours.
Yeah.
It finds something you can fix, in which... you
can
now have to fix it, or it can find something you can't fix, and then you have to decide if you can live with that.
Yep.
The worst case scenario is you lose 3 hours for nothing.
And they have the time to sort of spare, because everyone's like spread out across Katratzi base again.
Rigel and Granny don't get a lot of screen time, but when they do it, it's quite funny.
Yeah, they're just around somehow. They're doing their
They're kind of like
own thing.
skulking about and trying to not be where the fighting people are. And but
Scorpius finds them anyway.
As does Stark.
Ah, yes. Stark sort of wandering by. And now we get a little info dump from Scorpius who says, yes, well...
Who's Stark?
Another lunatic with the wrong number of eyes. And there he is.
He is not. That is a bioloid replica.
And how do you know that?
Stark would never torture me. Emperor Starlick replaced the real Stark with a bioloid to fool Arachne into believing he was real.
The Emperor wouldn't let his spy, me, be tortured by Arachne, so he had Stark duplicated because he knew that she would use Stark as a torturer, but Stark would never torture me either. And I sort of faded out.
Yes, so Stark has his, what's it called again?
Stykera. He's a Stykera, which is a type of Bannock.
Right.
Species.
Which help people, and they have these missing body parts replaced by glowing void, and they keep them covered up.
Oh, no, they are part energy. So they're not fully biological beings. So they're born like this.
Yeah,
oh,
I know.
no,
I read about this I looked this up quite intensely at one point for, I think, one of the hiatuses or something.
Oh yes, you looked in the role playing book. That hasn't come up in a while.
Oh, it has not. No, indeed. But yes, I read the whole Bannock backlore in that. So.
Oh, and we also read one of the fanfics that we read was about like youth and childbirth for Bannock and Stykeras.
But so is he also a? He's a bionoid or whatever. I mean, that seems to be the implication because they talk about the cloning, the copying chamber. So
yes,
the implication is that he is also a bionoid, which then apparently has Stykera power.
Okay, this is one of the sort of great arguments in Farscape because there's a few models you can go. Maybe the bioloid duplication process could indeed also duplicate the Stykera abilities, which seems really weird because they're non-biological. Right. But spacey wacy wibbly bibbly. Maybe that's the case, or maybe it couldn't duplicate that.
Yeah,
and neither Arachne nor the Stark's bioloid knew that.
But he still has the glowy face.
He has the glowy face, but it doesn't do anything.
Right, so Scorpius was acting.
Yes, that's a possibility that Scorpius already realized, oh, no, he wouldn't torture me, and then he was acting the pain that he was experiencing.
Yes.
Which is several layers deep, but, that's kind of where...
Well, there's an interesting thing about the bioloids anyway, is that they still maintain... let's call it a personality, and let's assume that it's based on their original personality. Because now we go to Sikozu, who is again in her role as infiltrator.
Yep.
After having exposed herself as also being a bioloid to the other redhead bioloid who helps him itself report. This is going to turn into a long episode, isn't it?
I think so, but it's justified. No, but you're completely right. Like there's the Kalish Underground, which, I mean. All 2 of the members that we know of this underground are both bioloids. But she also says that she's a Kalish who has been genetically modified.
Right.
So
I kind of figured that was part of the bioloid thing.
But we've seen we've seen 2 bioloids being essentially like meat machines with sort of tripe and inside their brains.
Right, but they also have a bit of their personality also persists because they're not just programmed.
And some memories, but not all.
Right.
It's a kind of a...
And they have my question still has she always been a bioloid or was she also part? I mean, she can't have been done by the Scarran the same way that Aaron was.
No.
Because the Scarrans would not have an underground. So I guess Sikozu must have always already been like this.
Yeah, so was she created?
Yeah.
Or is the term bioloid does that mean cyborg now? That you can be regularly born, or maybe like artificial reproduction is a part of Kalish reproduction.
Right.
We just have no idea.
No, but I'd be willing to say that she's been like this. This has always been her, because she was working for the Scarrans when they first found her, so it was entirely plausible that she already was an agent at that point.
I have an idea.
Yeah.
Okay, I have an idea. I don't know whether this has ever been resolved, because there are still canon things of Farscape that I don't know. I haven't read the comics.
Oh, fair enough.
Which there are, which we may be able to explore at some point. But I can look it up for you.
Okay.
If you cast some points, does this get resolved or not resolved?
Oh, it's clearly not getting resolved in the film stuff.
Frel, damn it. Actually, I don't know. I don't know that I remember it. I have not watched. I'll tell you this very honestly. I have not watched future episodes of Farscape since we started this show.
Okay. I'll put 500 points on her having always been a plant, because she was already working for the a bioloid, and that she was not secretly replaced at some point. I'll put 500 points on that.
Awesome.
So let's get back to this episode, because this is going to be a long one.
Look, I think we've actually hit on the most important points already. These plot points get spread out. So the Emperor is working to keep everyone busy while their escape plan is sabotaged and the bomb is defused.
Right.
He favors Jennick over Akna, because Jennick consistently displays the competence that he demands.
Yes.
Captain Jennick here epitomizes the competence I demand. Perhaps you can next assist Minister Akna in her follies.
While Akna is increasingly shifting her priorities from pleasing the Emperor to resolving the situation in her favor,
yes,
so that she gets to replace the Emperor.
Oh, is it the Emperor she's trying to replace? I thought that she was trying to replace the other dude.
No shortage to her ambition.
No, fair enough. So apparently the Emperor is not hereditary, but a power vacuum. Meanwhile, the two redheads are conspiring because, they need the key to the digging elevator, which is...
Yes, it had a name, but I'm calling it the drill-elevator.
They're in the Rabricator.
What the hell is that? Some kind of massage tool?
It's a drilling elevator.
The drill elevator. I think I wrote it down as...
As drill-elevator?
No, I wrote it down as
some technobabble.
Hey, you know how to drive this walk-elevator?
I can't even read my own handwriting at this point, but it looks like a
Rebricator.
Rebricator.
Rebricator. I think they say that. I don't know what that means. It's a wonkavator, but I like...
That seems fine, yes. Drilling elevator. So it's called a drilling elevator, yes, but it also runs in a shaft at first, because they've already been on this previous episode. But it also has drilling functionality, so I guess it's an escape mechanism?
I guess.
It makes sense to drill a shaft, but then use the drilling machine as the elevator, I guess, and retain the drilling functionality. It seems like a waste of resources, but who knows?
It's cool though. It's a really cool thing where its doors, the entire sort of front corners of the walls just move out of the way, which is kind of cool.
And we get a little bit of will they or will they not be squishified scene going on by that. But yes, the bomb is deactivated. And they realize that, Frel, we have now because the
nothing.
Yeah, we have nothing. We've lost our ace in the hole. We can't threaten anybody anymore.
Yeah, and then it's just run. We're doing Scorpius plan. Are we doing? It's the only one that we still have in play, and we have to act now.
And we have to GTFO and get down. So they managed to override the drill elevator. We actually had a little pause here to stop what the Frel is going on when they get into the elevator, because there's one of the redheads there along with the chariot, and we see the redhead getting punched out, and then we really had to stop. Did they just completely forget about the chariot?
The chariot doesn't get a close up of being punched out.
He doesn't.
He also doesn't get a close up of being dragged out of the elevator.
You barely see him lying on the floor at one point, and the next shot he's everybody runs into the elevator and they go down. So we thought it was a continuity area, but we can just probably call it an editing room Sorry, cutting room floor. That's the word I was looking for.
love this elevator. Like, I love seeing all these fantastic makeups and these amazing characters just sort of jammed together into a tiny space, seen from above, not doing anything. It really sort of exposes.
That's the scene. That's the scene with the chat.
And it gets even worse with the Scarrans.
Scarrans later on, yes.
But just all of our heroes, and now they're all just standing around. This must be what like the green room looks like, or like the snack room after a shoot. Meanwhile, Granny, this is the last plotline, Granny and Rigel have been tasked by Scorpius to rescue the original Stark, whom he still believes is somewhere around here. And Granny goes, oh, that's a great idea. Why?
Yeah, who's Stark again? Like,
yeah, which one was that?
Like, he's another like annoying person with the wrong number of eyes.
And Rigel goes, but he spent time on Katratzi. He knows his way around.
Yes, because apparently he was like a part of the death rituals of the high-ranking... and that's why Scorpius was torturing him for information to find out where Katratzi was, because Scorpius did not know.
You rescued him prior to that breakthrough.
Sorry to stitch you up.
No, you're not.
And if Crichton hadn't ruined that opportunity, if he hadn't rescued this valuable prisoner from having information extracted from his brain through torture, then maybe things would have turned out different, says Scorpius. And I don't think that Crichton really has anything to regret that action.
No, I don't think so.
It is interesting to have like a several seasons long mystery just kind of resolved at a point where it is not important. It's not like it's cool. It's cool that we find out, but we have other things to move on with, and that's Farscape, baby.
It's kind of like I think it's a 6-book slow burn that Charles Stross sets up in one of his books. So in the first Laundryverse novels, he talks about like paperclip audits, and like 4 or 5 books later on, it turns out why paperclip audits are important, because like if 2 paperclips from the same box can then be are psychically linked or something, can be used to like mystically find out where the documents are that they're clipped to, or something like that.
Hey, listeners at home, I want to hear from someone who has never heard of the author Charles Stross or the Laundryverse, the Laundry Files novels, and who just heard all those syllables spill out of Kay's mouth with such confidence. It's going, whoa, because I love all these scenes with all these people jammed together. There are too many. There are too many really diverse and interesting characters like jammed into these shots to really take them seriously, because they sort of bleed the edges of each other's reality a little bit.
I guess it gives us a really good feel of how these people have melded together, rather than being antagonistic towards each other and like barely tolerating each other. They are now more or less operating as a unit,
which we get to see for essentially the first time. I don't think we see this many people
in
our room at a time at any point. One of the writers, I think it was David Kemper in the Visual Companion, talked about the secret to Farscape's success is that while we understand that certain aspects are silly and comedic, we write them very, very seriously. And conversely, like when we get really into it, it's kind of ridiculous. And you've got to enjoy that as well.
I mean, we've talked about that literally before, like how certain very dark things have been really funny, and it's like, when they're playing it for comedy, and you're saying like, this is really, really dark. It's like,
yes. Which is an amazing sort of tonal shift. So we arrive here. This was, I think, who was it? I think it was like Wayne Pygram also, who had like a dream that he talked to David Kemper about, and it was just this image of Scorpius in a field of flowers.
Yeah, Scorpius having his gladiator moment where he's walking through fields of grain and he's already dead.
Oh, wow. This is his Elysium. Well, actually, that's a really, really good point. Because this is his sort of ultimate revenge. Because he talks about how rare it is to find a planet where these flowers can grow. And when you deny them the opportunity to grow those flowers in a sector of space,
that basically removes their ability to transfer to control that space, because it allows because presumably those flowers have a limited lifetime spreadability, and that kind of determines how far away they can get from a planet, a place where these flowers can grow.
Yeah, evidently they're only good when they're fresh. They're no good when they're when they're dry.
And they need the mother plant to pollinate the others.
Yes, which Scorpius finds out is shielded.
Oh no, they put up a force shield. Oh, this is new. It's like, that wasn't here. That's unfair. They put up something that I didn't expect. Like he almost throws a bit of a tantrum at being denied.
Stark didn't know.
I didn't know about it.
Stark didn't know about it! This must be a new addition by the Scarrans!
He doesn't like to lose, does he?
Well, he is thwarted at this point. Like, he's given up everything. At this point, there's no way that the Emperor still believes that he's a spy. A relationship that he's cultivated over a decade.
Yeah.
The peacekeepers aren't going to trust him either. Now that he's been seen consorting in this way. Like, it's completely gone just to get a chance to kill this flower, and then he can't kill it.
Yep. Meanwhile, the override of the lift is overridden. There's a little bit of
Tiana has to stand in the sensor before the doors close.
And even later, like, start pushing the door actually physically open, at which point Dargo gets between Tiana's legs again for the first time in a long while. Not for the last time in this episode.
Then we get a scene of Scarran soldiers, the horse-headed guys with these fantastic gladiatorial helmets,
Standing in the elevator.
just
like,
sort of sniffing, and one of them takes a sniff and like looks at one of the other ones.
I almost wanted like one of them to like lean over to the mirror and kind of like pop a zit on their face or something like that.
And we come back so often; it takes so long.
Because in the meantime, the crew is setting up in the flower garden. They're like discussing what are we going to do. They're going to come down. There's nothing we can do. We're going to hide between the flowers. And at which point, Sikozu reveals that she has a superpower against Scarrans.
Am I wrong? Or we failed? No, there is a way. I am not like normal Kalish.
She can like do something that creates something that kills their heat gland and kills them.
But there is a cost.
Well, it's not really clear what that cost is, made clear. I mean, she doesn't really...
Well, she says...
If the Scarrans were to learn there are others engineered like myself, they would kill millions of innocents to root us out.
If the Scarrans find out that this exists...
Right. Then, yeah, and everybody agrees, like, okay, we won't get captured. We won't allow ourselves to be tortured. So it's like, basically, death pact. Like, if we get death before capture at this point, that's what they all agree to. Yes,
We're not going to be tortured again.
Agreed.
Agreed.
And Sikozu accepts it. Like, she has enough trust with them that she believes them. And, like, this is entirely true for John and Aaron, who have plenty of experience with the Scarrans and, don't want to be captured again.
We will
Tiana as
not
well.
be tortured. Hugh agrees, which is interesting that she then later votes against throwing the nuclear bomb down the shaft, but because that kind of like is an extension from this, but never mind. The fight between the Scarrans as they arrive is like, they built this whole thing up of like, oh no, the Scarran super soldiers are coming down, and they step into the room and Sikozu does her little thing. She floats up.
Yeah, she's like the Phoenix from X-Men.
Right, and the special effect that they use for this is actually very similar to the Scarran heat ray thing. Yeah, funny that. Yeah,
it's weird. Like when she melted that control panel.
Yeah,
maybe that was not the Scarran thing, was it? Or maybe it's identical.
Yeah.
Or
it's a good point. Yes, I mean it makes sense that if it's like they produce something like that, they would be sensitive to something similar. I mean, maybe it sets up some sort of harmonic resonation and...
she says that she emits a form of radiation that specifically targets the Scarran heat-producing gland.
Yeah.
And she says, do not look upon me. Which
especially not you. Don't look at Scorpius.
Yes. Maybe very wise. Maybe your tissue should not be trusted in this vicinity.
But the fight is over in seconds. Scorpius has a pissy fit, like slapping at some of the flowers as he is made to abandon.
I know. He's just whacking flowers with his gun.
Yes, he is he is feeling very put out here.
And you know what? Look at these gifs of John looking at Scorpius.
Yeah.
There is a plan forming in his mind now.
Oh, yes.
I'm pretty sure that this is the moment where John realizes, like, I actually fully understand where Scorpius is coming from.
I can understand his frustration, yes.
And now I know how I can manipulate Scorpius, how I can solve my problem.
Yeah.
Oh, meanwhile, Rigel and Granny have found the bioloid duplicator, and they wake up Stark, who looks at Granny and says, "Oh, you're green."
Oh, thank you for noticing.
It's so nice.
Yeah.
You're green.
How lovely of you to notice.
She's so delighted.
Other
but they
Stark
interrupted
shows
by
up.
evil Stark,
Yes,
Wingbeard Stark.
with the long hair.
Is nothing sacred? You want to deal with Stark? You're gonna have to deal with me.
Who gets... apparently Granny is a dab throw with her meat carving fork.
Oh, beautiful.
She just, tosses it, her third eye goes red, and she just, kind of spikes Stark straight through his mask, actually. So that's
a pretty good throw, then.
Yeah.
Into his bio brain,
And
he spits out
again,
cum.
things are rapidly resolved.
Yes. And we head to, I think this is the last plot point, which is Grayza has decided to go out in a blaze of glory.
Ma'am, what are you doing?
Pursuing honor, Captain.
We're at peace, under truce, and vastly outnumbered.
And about to rewrite the course of history.
Yes, she has been making preparations. She's been bringing the command carrier to battle stations.
The Emperor is even, pleading with her, I think performatively, see reason, don't do this. Obviously, there's no way to survive. We're still operating under truce.
Yes, while at the meantime, his second-in-command is telling him, we've got 400 guns trained on him.
Yes, but also, we have... Okay, I've instructed everyone, Peacekeeper Command will find no fault with our self-defense. We are fully prepared to destroy this this command carrier, but not as an act of aggression, and it'll be flawless.
Yeah, we're not going to fire first, but as soon as you shoot, then we're shooting back.
Yep.
Yeah.
And everyone has been we've set up our appropriate escalation of force.
So this room that they're in, that Braca and Grayza are in, that looks very similar to the one that was used for the scene where we see Sikozu running over the windows and breaking them, and it seems like they've replaced the windows and put a couch in instead of a command.
Okay,
console.
let's talk about the couch, because you're right. That was an unrealized reality. Remember,
Yeah.
where I think it was Crichton was still a peacekeeper.
Yes, that's the one. Yes,
and she was a rebel. But they put a leather sort of chaise longue in here.
It's maybe it's like a psychologist's couch, It's like
but it's right next to the...
I know,
it looks like the TARDIS console.
but it's weird.
What is this?
And on the other side of the window, there's some sort of starfighter. It also looks a bit like the room.
It's Prowler.
It's a Prowler.
It's like the command center that looks over the Prowler bay.
Which they probably also used for the when they were experimenting with wormholes and the wormhole ship. Except it was painted a little bit more white at that point because it had to be scientific.
Well, science is white, tactics are black.
Yes, fair point.
And Braca steps up to the plate.
I've actually got this written down as setting up a mutiny. Because you can, while Braca and Grayza are talking, it gets intercut with shots of other people in the room who are clearly having expression reactions to what is being said.
Let's talk about some of them, because there's a tech there who has a white bib and a fantastic sort of surfer haircut with brown hair. And there is, I swear to God, Peacekeeper Guy Fieri. He's got a ring beard. He's got frosted tips.
Okay.
I'll find that GIF and send it to you.
You've got the guy who's wearing the grey thing. I guess is this the surfer dude guy you were talking about?
Yeah,
Yes.
he's the tech. He's got the bib.
Right.
And then a little further on, there's a peacekeeper.
It's kind of like whatchamacallhim light.
You got one with a hat. He looks sort of Johnny Depp.
I was going to say
moustache.
he looks a bit like a light version of Crace. Crace Light.
Oh yes, it is a similar hat. It's a little bit
I know,
squashed, but
and he's got a little bit of...
here's Peacekeeper Guy Fieri. That's the one that I'm talking
Oh,
about.
so, I always see Guy Fieri with blonde hair, more blondish hair. But no, I see what you mean. Yeah,
it's great.
Grayza goes we're going down in the blaze of glory,
reclaiming honor.
Yeah, we're going to kill everybody and we're dying because she's bleak. Her gambits have all played out and she is lost.
Yep,
because she's had her life reducing thing to get her boob glands activated or something.
Yeah.
and she's basically gambled everything on being able to pull this stunt off and come back with either wormhole technology or a peace treaty.
Well, she came there for a peace treaty under the belief that the peacekeepers still had it, and then John ruined it all.
Yeah, and now
John told the Scarrans, they definitely don't have wormhole weapons. I do!
Yes. And, now she's willing to go down in a blaze of glory, at which point Braca goes like, well, under section this and that of the Command Act, blah, blah, blah.
He does a Crimson Tide. He Crimson Tides her.
Yeah, you are basically relieved of command. And then you get the classic standoff where the commander goes like, oh, you please take the captain to the brig or whatever. I don't know what Braca's rank at this point is. Oh, yes.
Execute him.
And then, yes, you have and that's always, must be a very, it's not a situation that comes up very often, but yeah, both parties involved in a situation like this must have the belief that they are the ones that are going to be listened to.
Yes. And then the soldiers in the room
are the ones who get to decide
which of these legal orders, but contradictory ones.
Yes.
Tell me when target acquisitions are complete.
There is no battle here, ma'am.
Why are you so averse to conflict, Captain?
And why are you so adverse?
How dare you? Who do you think you are?
Captain Miklo Braca, Officer of the Fleet, Peacekeeper Interplanetary Service.
Oh, nobody.
Ma'am, you'll start a war.
A war is inevitable.
We sail under a flag of truce. Let us leave beneath its protection.
Didn't Scorpius tell you truce with the Scarrans is suicide?
So the men and women of this vessel must pay for your miscalculation with their lives.
It's for the greater good, Captain. And we shall all be remembered as heroes.
Commandant Grayza, under Article 6, Rulu, Uniform Code of Admiralty Conduct, Section 19. Due to a state of incapacitation of judgment displayed in multiple encounters under stress, I hereby invoke the transfer of command and relieve you of duty immediately.
Officer of the deck! Weapon! Sir! Would you be so kind as to shoot this mutinous captain dead where he stands?
Sorry, ma'am. Captain Braca has already relieved you of command.
Now let's get this ship out of here.
Grayza gets carted off to the brig, presumably.
Yeah.
And we get the elevator scene.
Which goes on and on and on. Because the drill elevator, they've used the special key that QtPie 2.0 gave them.
Yes,
and
then they override the override of the override, and they manually got the drill elevator going. And it turns into a bit of a Disney-esque ride. They don't know where they're going.
Nope.
Like John goes like, "Do you know how to drive this thing?" And
Braca says, "Do you?"
So
no, then why bother asking?
Yes.
Do you know where you're going? Again?
No. Up.
And then, which inside a planet? Which direction is up? We have no idea.
Well, they're not that deep, so up is fairly. There's always gravity.
Well,
up is the opposite way of which gravity works.
Well, by the time you're spinning that much, you have no idea where you're going. But
okay, so now hang on. Let me talk about the spinning here.
Oh, okay.
Because every time we see a shot of the inside of the cabin, it's spinning like crazy. Mm-hmm. But every time we see a shot of the drill elevator drilling, it's perfectly steady.
Special effects are done months after shooting. It's possible that it was intended for. I follow you, but I also understand they probably did an animatic when if it's spilling. You don't recognize that it's the same elevator, so it's got to be standing still.
Fair.
But maybe they keep the exterior arms still and only
yeah,
for some reason...
we spin the inside. We've got gyro stabilization, which we use on the outside, and therefore let everybody who's in the inside spin around. Because
There's a gyro button. There's a gyro button that makes it function that way, but Darko doesn't know what it does. He hasn't pushed it. So instead, the cabin is spinning, and the stabilizers are still. That's it.
Yes, that'll be it. Maybe that's why it takes so long to drill all the way back up to the surface.
And... out of all the sort of exit points on the entire planet,
they end up in the Emperor's chambers,
in the conference room, which is filled with chariots, where they do what you described, competent priority setting, get the Emperor to safety first.
Yes, which is immediately what happens. They manage to shoot at the drill elevator for a little bit, but it's a drill elevator. It's pretty strong.
It's pretty impervious.
Hand weapons aren't really going to get anywhere. The crew just peek out briefly for a moment and then immediately decide to, no. Let's keep the lid shut.
Fire! Hey, that's no good.
Where are we?
Conference room.
What?
Come out now, or die!
Are we cursed?
Could we be cursed?
Well, that depends on whether this will hold.
But there's another hatch which goes back down, and it's at least a metro down to the flower chamber. Yes, where in the meantime more Scarrans have shown up to see, like, oh, they're all dead. Like,
yes.
Oh, what happened here?
Yes, no, whatever.
They got the backup elevator in. Because that's mentioned earlier on. It's like when they control the drill elevator, they can take it down, and they're like, if they have complete control of it, they can keep it there, so they can't like bring a second
control
cabin.
The shaft.
Right? They control. Well, basically the thing is sitting in the door opening.
Exactly.
So as long as it's sitting there, they can't bring another cab in to.
Yes, but so once they started drilling, the shaft was free again.
Exactly, and then they got to send more people down, who then saw the dead people.
And then John asks Scorpius, "Hey, how bad do you want that flower destroyed?"
Yes, I'll give anything.
Grasshopper, how important is that mother plant?
I would trade my life for its destruction.
What about my wormhole debt?
Of course.
And then he goes like, well, turns out I can reactivate this bomb.
And he tosses it. The bomb
They have a vote first.
Nope. He tosses it, and then he goes,
oh, right.
We should have voted.
Yes, right.
Hey, guys.
Who's in favor?
Quick.
Turns out 3-2. I think Chana and Dargo vote against, but...
I think Chiana votes twice. She votes on both sides. I think so.
I didn't think so. I mean, initially she seemed to be the only one who was like...
She was having fun in the elevator. Like, let's do that again.
Oh, yes. But
like
she's very apprehensive when it comes to the bomb. Because what we are getting, they are dropping this... I mean, like, I'm going to assume a metro is about 1 kilometer at this point. I mean, we've talked... It's come up at some point. It's a fairly long distance.
Yeah.
And so they drop the bomb, and, like, no, it's a thermonuclear device, and it's being dropped down a big shaft, and at the bottom there's a flower chamber.
Yeah.
And he's like, like, this elevator's pretty strong. We'll probably survive, It can probably stand the impact this distance.
At this distance, which bothers me a little bit.
Right.
Because a pressure wave traveling through a tube that has no opportunity to dissipate...
Well, a lot of that energy is going to go through into the ground anyway. But do you know about the lid?
Oh, you mentioned that word while we were watching this.
Right. Okay,
and I got really excited. Oh, I'm going to learn something cool today.
There is some dispute about what was the first man-made object that made it into space. And there have been several rocket shots.
Yes.
But there is a theory that basically when they were started doing underground tests of nuclear bombs. At one point, they drilled a big shaft, and they lowered the bomb into the shaft, and they put a really big, heavy iron lid on it, like several tons worth of lid on the top.
Oh,
and the footage of the explosion only shows one frame, which has that lid in it, because it just gets blown off the top of that shaft as a cork, and they can set an upper and a lower limit of what
kind of speed that could be,
because it's only visible in one frame. We know how far it is above the ground in that frame.
It wasn't moving in this frame,
yes,
and it was 50 meters up in frame 2, and then it was just not.
Never seen again. So never found, never seen. So it might have been actually...
It would have been travelling at least 50 metres in 1/24 of a second,
at
least
exactly.
that many. But it could be faster, because it also just has been detonated like a millisecond
exactly.
before.
So, we don't exactly know how far. But there's a minimum speed. So was
it ever recovered?
No, it's never seen it. It's never seen it.
So did it vaporize?
Don't know.
Did it...
it certainly was the fastest travelling object at that point, man-made object at that point.
But did it fly off into space, and is it still in space? Did it come back down and burn up?
Yeah, possible. We don't know. It's
amazing.
It's unknown.
That's amazing.
I was thinking of that when they had the elevator sitting on top of the shaft, and it dropped a nuclear bomb in that.
Actually, that's a really good point. The elevator itself might survive,
right?
But it would just be filled with pink goop.
Right. That's exactly what I was thinking as well.
Depending on how fast it accelerates.
When we see the bomb explode, it drops down through the glass ceiling of the new elevator, which is down there.
Into Jennick's arms.
Into Jennick's arms, and it says hi there.
Yeah. Culminating the Dr. Strangelove references.
Right. We get a lot of purplish flashes, lots of people getting turned into plasma, including the flowers and the people, the chariots standing in the room in which the elevator is resting.
And in proud Farscape tradition, this all happens while people are snocking. Aaron and John are kissing.
Right.
Chiana and Dargo.
Yes.
And even Scorpius and Sikozu.
Oh, no, that happens later.
Sitting in a lift.
I'm pretty sure that kiss...
Fingerer.
No, I'm fairly certain that kiss between...
Chotheher.
Okay, now I'm going to have to listen to this episode just to get you to figure out what you just spelled out.
400,000 episodes in, I finally figured it out.
But I'm pretty sure that kissing scene between Sikozu and
they are very
Scorpius
tender together.
happens later.
They're all a-cuddling. You've definitely got them a-cuddling.
Oh, yes, totally. But the kissing happens later back on Moya.
Where we arrive.
What the manna just happened? Where are you, you farbots? Did you blow up the bomb? How could you blow up the bomb?
You missed the vote.
This bomb goes off.
Yeah, we don't know how they get off the planet because that happens during a commercial break, and that's something that totally never happened on Farscape before.
Well, we can piece it together because Rigel, Stark, and Noranti were on Lola,
yes,
which they could operate, so they could tow the elevator back to.
Or they just managed to get out of the elevator and managed their way onto Lola, whatever. Everybody's back on. The Emperor is presumably still alive because he got carted off.
It didn't look like Katratzi exploded.
I mean, no. I mean, anything within a few miles might have problems, or maybe not. I mean,
some seismic events, but as David Kemper pointed out, we've had hundreds of underground nuclear detonations on Earth, and Earth's still fine.
Right. I mean, you see a little bit of the air moving, and probably the palace and stuff collapsed, and wherever this is happening in. But if he was a few miles away, he'd be fine. So they didn't. He wouldn't have to get off Katratzi to be alive.
To survive.
Just not within the direct vicinity of where it happened, unless you're in a drill elevator.
Stark visits pilot.
Oh yes.
I never thought I'd see you again, Stark.
And I always believed I would.
It is a pleasure to have you aboard.
Where he hasn't been since, I think, early season 3.
Yeah, just before he left, I suppose.
I love the sort of focus and pilot saying I didn't expect to see you here again, and Stark saying I always knew that I would.
Yes,
it's so nice.
Yes, Granny seems to be very friendly as well. She's
and to celebrate the victory, I shall cook a voluptuous Caspian haunch stew.
Yes, she's got those apple cheeks. She's got a little eye on Stark.
I think so too, yes.
She likes the weirdos with the sideburns. Because his sideburns are even longer than John's.
Fair point. And we have a little shot of Chana and Dargo under the furs.
In what looks like multiple post-coital blisses.
Right, yes.
Until Chana rolls around and says... More.
Yeah.
More. And he goes, okay. Then.
That's when we get the kiss between Sikozu and Scorpius.
Where he is at first holding back. He's sort of reluctant, And
then I was almost going to wonder if this is going to turn into a shadow repository scene here. Because we know how Scorpius' sex life kind of works, or can work.
And then he pops his cork.
Yeah.
How long does it take for you to recover?
I do not know. I've never done this before.
And then there's John and Aaron having a little tender moment. And John seems to be very, he seems to be troubled by what he did.
Yeah.
Which seems odd to get that kind of issues at this point. Or maybe it's all catching up with him.
That was the vibe that I was getting.
Yeah.
He's had times where he's been depressed about being God's chosen sock puppet on whom all this suffering is piled, and how many people around him have suffered for his mistakes. And now he talks about this speech. Hey, honey, guess what I did at work today?
I wore a bomb. A nuclear bomb in a field of flowers. I could get lucky. Tomorrow I could have a bigger bomb. I could kill more people. Maybe they'll be innocent people. Children. Maybe.
but apparently he also has issues about whom he killed.
I mean, a lot of people died, and it wasn't just accidental. They set out to do this, to bomb this place with people on it. And he says, if I'm lucky, maybe tomorrow I'll have a bigger bomb and I can kill more people.
Yeah.
Extrapolating from...
I mean, there's also a little bit of setting a seed of doubt in the viewer's mind, because he specifically mentions killing children, which is a little bit, and Erin's sitting there trying to keep her face straight, so...
I'm sure that's... Oh, I like to think that's on his mind as well, because the concept of fatherhood is on his mind.
Right. Well, I'm more thinking about the concept of what's Erin been up to in the medical bay.
Right, okay, You're going with the cynical
Right, no,
view.
I mean, just it's Farscape, but I can imagine that they threw that in specifically to remind the viewers that, there was this thing with kids, with potential children going on as well. Just to, fuel the thoughts of, she might have.
Every soldier that he killed trying to escape, let's assume that it's only bad guys that were killed by the bomb, that were trying to kill them in self-defense. That was someone's child. Someone loved them.
Yeah. Well, don't know how that works with chariots, but let's assume that...
Yeah, okay, you don't actually know.
Yeah.
There are plenty of species that just don't care about children and have... Okay, fair enough.
Have as many as possible and then sort it out amongst themselves.
Everything old is new again. Except the old thing's getting really old.
Anyway.
She gives me a woody.
She gives you the willies.
Okay, so let's see. What can we go? Let's go for the willies first, as we usually do.
Go for the willies!
The drill elevator. Okay, so yes, the potential willies were the overriding the override of the override and override. But I think mine will have to go to the chariot who gets completely disposed of without getting a second.
Oh, the mystery chariot who is edited out of relevance.
I mean, that's and I'm scratching for Pickens here because I have no idea anything else that I could reasonably give Willie comment on this episode, because it's fantastic.
Mine is the utter irrelevance of Scorpius's triple agentness.
Fair.
That's the kind of thing that could have been milked for not a whole season, but a little bit more than two unimportant mentions in an arc.
I mean, in all fairness, Scorpius's loyalty has always been very much up in the air.
But imagine that plot point hadn't been written. The rest of the story would have worked just as well.
Fair. Yeah.
Right? His motivation is still what it was when we started. No. That moment of doubt was not necessary at all. Even his betrayal of his mates, stopping them at the end of part 2, would have still been completely consistent if he didn't believe that he was secretly a spy.
Yeah, I guess it gave it a little bit more tension into what we could be expecting in the next episode.
So that's actually something that I would either want more of or less of. That's why I'm going for that.
Right, yes, because it's kind of a bit of a throwaway thing just to create a little bit more doubt and tension and potential talk on the internet.
And again, that kind of rug pull is very Farscape as well.
Very true. Oh, woodies. I mean, I like Granny's aim with her carving fork.
You can see that she's a dancer when she moves like that.
I think that my Woody will just have to go to Wayne Pygram on this episode.
Oh yes, good choice, Kay.
Because he just pulls it off in all the ways. He is Harvey.
Has so much to do.
I was thinking about all the things that I liked. I liked the scene between John and Scorpius. The scenes between John and Harvey. The way he's the way his focus is when he's on killing the flowers, even though he's never told anybody about this. This has been his focus, his intent to coming here, to destroying it. So
it's the worst thing he can imagine doing to the Scarrans.
Right. So I guess it just boils to not Scorpius, but just Wayne Pygram for carrying this.
Oh well, Kay, that's amazing. I fully agree. Because, I mean, also knowing how much responsibility Wayne Pygram has carried for keeping Scorpius interesting, doing so very successfully. But that's not my Willy. Nor
Woody.
even are the helmets worn by the...
Woody.
Woody, very good.
Is it the Scarrans in the elevator?
Scarrans in the elevator. And one of them... Did you fart or something? Because that elevator ride, it was 20 minutes of silence, and then just standing there.
They're not even checking their weapons or anything. They're just
sort of shuffling their feet, looking around, like, I should have brought my phone. Then
it's kind of like it's kind of like a Mass Effect elevators. Elevators take an awful long time, don't they?
And that's the story so Farscape.
Thank you for joining us, and we will be back next week with another fanfic reading, and we will be back the way after that. I'm really going to be able to drag this out long enough to get my information open. For episode 422, Bad Timing.
So it's not called We're All Miserable.
Everybody's frelled, or... when the Scarrans discover the wormhole to Earth, the crew of Moya must beat them there and find a way to stop them. Oh no.
How's that, Kay?
Failure means certain doom for the human race, but could the cost for success be too great? Oh no. The Scarrans discover the wormhole, but can they reliably travel through it? And can they open it? Like this, I guess that all gets hand-waved before the credits.
I don't remember, because I haven't seen it. So there you go. Thank you for joining us once again as we careen toward the end of Season 4. Now, I honestly don't know whether there's still an opportunity for people to send in synopses. Because after this, of course, we are going to discuss... we're going
to have the season finale, but...
I know, but we edit in advance. So we record and then... before the episodes come out.
That might be like for the miniseries. There might still be
the miniseries that you don't know about.
Yes.
But we actually haven't discussed like the timing of that.
No, but 422 definitely no episodes anymore at this point. Like that's already going to be by the time this airs. 422 is already going to be recorded.
Yes. Okay, that's how math works. Yeah. Hey, actually, we can discuss this on air, which is a weird thing, but I sort of feel like the Farscape listeners, they're our family and our collaborators.
Things,
Do you want to do a Season 4 retrospective before we go to the miniseries that you don't know about?
Yes, I think so, because that's probably
okay. Let's see how your answer changes when I ask it to you again next episode.
Because I assume that there was a fairly significant amount of time between the end of Season 4 and the miniseries.
A frightening amount of time that none of us really enjoyed. And that I have cruelly joked to many people I would make you experience, but I won't. Don't worry.
No. Presumably, there was like, I don't know, maybe a year or more, I guess. I mean, probably was the existence of miniseries already known or announced at the end of Season 4?
Nope.
No, that's what I think.
At this point, where we are right now, Farscape fans expected a Season 5 because it had been announced.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Right. Okay, that's, double cruel. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Okay, yes. If they'd already announced Season 5 and then that didn't happen, then like, whoosh.
Because that's how, like, at the start of Season 4, like, hey, 2-season pickup. So we're getting a Season 4 and a Season 5, everybody.
Yeah. Oh, cruel.
Yeah, we're going to get into that more next time. So we'll see if you're left with the same kind of sort of languid enthusiasm. So let's take our time, or if you want to just really see where it goes next. But thank you for joining us. You can certainly check sofarscape.com/links, where if there is still an opportunity to send in your synopses, we would absolutely welcome this. This goes out to, by the way, everyone who's ever sent us one of these wonderful synopses. I think like we've read almost every one, except for like I think a few technical mishaps and a few timing issues. So if you have anything up your sleeve for a remaining episode, please check and let us know. The Farscape Patreon is there as well for those who want to show your appreciation for the years that we've spent voyaging through the uncharted territories together. Thank you so much to everyone who has shown that support. There's dozens, hundreds of people, many of whom we've named, but some of whom have come up so recently that I can't even remember them. Thank you so much. And we will give you those gifs, my solemn promise. What else do we have on there? Fanfiction, I think we've got mostly magazines from here on out, but most of all, thank you for joining us once again. I'm Kaki.
I'm Kay. So Farscape, so good.